Hey, it's Lauren. Today I am coming to you with this face of makeup that I have been into lately, as well as a demo review talking about Glossier's newest launch, Wowder. Not a powder, but it is a powder. Anyways, the look will be coming up very shortly. It's a sort of no makeup-y, nice, fresh-ish looking face, and it's really quite a cocktail of products, like old things that I haven't used in a while, or things I'm testing out and things I'm trying to use up. And I just sort of like came up with this face, and I've been into wearing it for the last few days, so I'm gonna show it to you. But for right now, I'm gonna talk about this guy, Wowder. You've probably seen this around because anytime Glossier has a launch, it just ends up being all over the place in terms of the beauty community, both on YouTube, Reddit, Instagram. I don't know about Twitter. I'm never on Twitter, but on those places that I check out, I've been seeing it a lot lately. Now, full disclosure, I am a Glossier rep, so they didn't send this to me, but I was able to pick this up with store credit, so just be forewarned, or disclaimer, or whatever. I know that makes some people uncomfortable, so you know that now. But so I have been testing this out for a little over a week now. I picked it up, I think, when it launched. So I've had it for over a week. So I have tested out with several different foundations. I tried it with the new Laura Mercier foundation. I tried it with some different BB creams and tinted moisturizers, as well as testing it out with the Glossier Skin Tint, which I also own. By the way, if you're ever interested in like a roundup Glossier review from me, let me know. I have a crap ton of Glossier products at this point. Some I'm indifferent about, some I'm like meh, and then some I like quite a bit. So anywho, back to this guy. Now, this dude, it comes in 3 different shades. You have the light, medium, more of like a medium deep or medium dark, and then something more of a dark shade. So that is nice that they took into account different skin tones. Pause for the helicopters. Thought it was gonna be a nice quiet Sunday afternoon here in Los Angeles, but there's no such thing as a fully quiet Sunday afternoon in Los Angeles. Anywho, this guy is, I believe, $22. Let me pull up my notes on my phone so I don't misquote stuff. Yes, this guy is $22, and it is 0.25 ounces. And then there is the brush, which is $20, and it comes with this little pouch, which, oh, I should have grabbed a regular Glossier pouch, but by like comparison, like this is the pouch, and then the Glossier regular pouch is much larger. So this really only fits this dude, keeping it nice and clean. The brush is nice. It is a thin synthetic fiber. The handle is nice and weighted. It has the Glossier stamp. I have experienced some shedding with this guy since having it, and they say it is designed to be used with the Glossier powder. I've used it also for bronzing, which I didn't really care for because it's definitely more of the type of brush that I feel like is designed to be used like this versus like this. So that's something to take into consideration, that the design of this and the powder seems like something that's definitely more of like the intentional placing, which is actually how I like to do my powder anyways. Before picking this guy up, my go-to powder is actually the Bourjois Healthy Balance powder, and I would use this e.l.f. brush and just pick up a little product and do that very like intentional placing. This, I love this guy. This is my second one, and it's really affordable. I prefer pressed powders to loose powders for setting my makeup, because then I feel like your face isn't too mattified, and I have a problem with having too heavy of a hand. So that's why I prefer pressed powder so I don't overdo it, which is one of the things that I actually really appreciate about the Wowder is, to me, it feels very similar to using this, but it is slightly less mattifying. This doesn't fully mattify, but it still leaves like quite a nice healthy looking glow, but this is even more like not mattifying. This just takes down shine just a little bit. It's not something like, say, like using the Laura Mercier translucent powder where I feel like this dude wipes away any lumosity on the skin, at least on me. Now, one of the things that is to be sort of a complaint about this guy is the pricing. Since this is $22 for 0.25 ounces, it seems like it's excessively priced, but then when you can take into consideration pricing of other powders like the Laura Mercier, which I think is around $38, and you get a full ounce, so that is, you know, 4 times the amount of product. This quickly goes from mid-range, slightly accessible pricing to definitely more luxury pricing, which Glossier definitely, for the most part, most of their things are in the sort of mid-range pricing, but then as soon as you look at the amount of product you get, it quickly actually is quite a luxury product. Say for instance, when I was reviewing the Invisible Shield, that is around the $30 mark and you get 1 ounce, versus the Pharmacy sunscreen, which are also around the $30-some mark, and that is 1.7 ounces. So something to take into consideration. Now, I do actually really enjoy the packaging on this. It's really similarly packaged to the Tarte Airbrush, yeah, the full coverage airbrush foundation. Exact same type of packaging, twist off top with a mesh screen, which is nice because then you don't get too much powder coming out, say like with the Laura Mercier, where it just, you end up kind of getting quite a bit. It has a nice heavy weighted plastic, got that sort of millennial pink look that Glossier often does, but they sort of went a little bit out of what they normally do and did a very like pop art. When I saw this, I immediately thought of like Liechtenstein style pop art on the top. So yeah, it is made with diamond powder, which is also in the skin tint. So that is supposed to give something of a little bit more of dimension, which this does have. It isn't shiny, but it does have a little bit of almost lumosity to it. So it's gonna take down the dew, but it's not gonna fully cancel it out. I had read that some people said that this was a finishing powder, but it is a setting powder. But the way Glossier does describe it makes it kind of sound like a finishing powder. So I end up using it as both and I enjoy the results. So this is a nice product. If it's something in your budget, if you're a Glossier fan, if you want a powder that's not gonna like destroy your dew, but not like leave you shiny looking, then this is good. One of my complaints also about this is I like to be able to touch up my powder throughout the day, and this is a little bit big for me to want to throw in my purse and take with me. Granted, you could like put the brush in here and cart this around, but that just kind of comes a little bit too much for me on most days in terms of carrying around. So that's the sort of thing. It does touch up nicely. Like if I used it and then like several hours later, I'm getting a little bit more shiny again. It does layer pretty nicely on top of itself. Okay, so that's, I think, pretty much all the little points I wanted to talk about in terms of the Wowder. If I missed anything, I'll either put it in the voiceover that's coming with this face very shortly, as well as maybe down in the description box. So, all right, to the face. So I've been into this somewhat cocktail of base products lately. So after doing my skincare and SPF, I take a relatively light layer of Dr. Jart's Cisapear Tiger Grass. I really like that this helps neutralize the redness in my skin that is pretty much always there. I'm priming my skin with Vapour's Stratus Instant Skin Perfector. This helps to just sort of blur and smooth the skin while also giving a nice lumosity to build off of. This is the type of product though that you really have to make sure you work into the skin. If you don't, it can sort of ball up. So now I'm taking the NARS Charlotte Gainsbourg Hydrating Glow Tint and mixing in a couple drops of the Hylamide Photography Foundation in Golden Tan. I love the hydrated finish that the NARS tint gives me, but it's a little bit too light for me these days, so adding a tiny bit of the Hylamide helps warm it up while keeping it really luminous on my skin. Now, unfortunately, neither of these things provide very much coverage, so I'm gonna layer it with the Vapour Atmosphere Luminous Foundation Stick. This layers really nicely with other products and can give a sheer amount of coverage, but can easily be built up to something more medium. I'm going to conceal with my NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer to just help finish up the base and cover any residual dudes that won't go away. The central product of the video, I am setting my face with Glossier Wowder in light medium. This does help put makeup in its place, but without completely canceling all of the lumosity I just worked really hard to build up on my face. This powder is pretty good at taking down shine without completely mattifying the face, but it isn't oil controlling, so I will need to touch up again with it in a couple of hours. It does give a slight soft focus-esqueness to the skin, not quite in the sort of airbrushed quality that some Hourglass products give, but it does give things a slightly perfected feel. And now that I look like a ghost, I'm gonna warm everything up with using my Becca Sunlit Bronzer in Capri Coast. My blush is RMS Beauty's Vogue Rose Lip to Cheek. This I got in the Vogue Rose Birchbox that I think is still available. It has a really beautiful, natural looking finish that sinks into the skin. I'm filling in my brows with the Anastasia Brow Wiz in Chocolate. This is an old staple for me. I just keep going back to it. On my eyes, I am using the Butter London Serum Shadow in Mauve Mist. I first place the product with the applicator and then pat it down with my finger. And then I later go in with a brush to blend it all out. I've been really into my sort of sparkly eyes lately, so to add a tiny bit of shimmer, I'm taking the NARS Soft Touch Shadow Pencil in a Vogue Rose. This is another one of those products that I think was exclusive to that Birchbox, and I love the sort of slightly pink pearlescence that it has. I'm curling my lashes with my Surratt Eyelash Curler and then using the RMS Volumizing Mascara. I'm not partial to this mascara, I'm just trying to use it up. For my highlighter, I'm using the Glossier Haloscope in Quartz and just hitting the high points of my face. And for my lips, I am using Clove & Hollow's lipstick in Desert Rose. This is my new favorite everyday nude. I've been pretty much carting this guy around for the last few weeks. Here's the completed face. I hope you enjoyed my rundown on Wowder as well as demoing what I've been into wearing on my face lately. I know it's quite a lot of products, but I've been really into sort of this cocktail recently. So yeah, anyways, I hope you're having a great day and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.